online presentations. Now, today we live in a world where, of course, we do a lot of presenting face to face, but more and more what we do is online communication, conference calls, video calls. So, what we've discussed so far, does all of that still apply to online communication? Are there any differences? What's your take on this?
Yeah, so everything about understanding the audience, relating your message to the audience, having a strong key message, knowing what you want people to do as a result of your presentation, all of those things relate just as much to an online presentation. And actually they relate even if your presentation had to be a document, even if at the last minute somebody said, oh, the technology's failed, you need to email your presentation as a document. It still applies to that. The slight differences with online presentations are obviously you're at the mercy of technology much more. And so, for example, what I've done today is you have to get as much right for that. We haven't spoken about environment, actually. And so it's probably worth, even in face-to-face presentations, I recommend always thinking about your environment. So if you can get into a room early, get into the room early. Is there a curtain flapping in the wind that you need to get rid of? All sorts of things like that. So today for our presentation, I'm not in my living room. I'm in my office with books behind me. It's a nice backdrop. And psychologically, it's not, okay, somebody who reads a lot, probably worth listening to. So create the best physical environment for yourself. What I use is, because I think vocal quality is really important in online presentations. You probably can't hear it when
Nice change, yeah.
It's called a Rode microphone, RODE. Very easy, excuse me looking inelegant, plugs into the headphone socket of any phone or any computer. And it gives, I hope, because I'm always dependent on the Wi-Fi connection, but it gives quite a nice vocal tone.
It
I've
does.
got my little headphones in for listening, because what you don't want, and I can't believe how many people do this, Andrea, so many people have the sound coming out of their laptop.
Yeah.
And it bounces back into the laptop and you get this weird echo or boot or thing. So you want to give yourself vocally the best opportunity. You want to give yourself, in terms of the environment you're in, the best opportunity. Get some decent lighting on your face. I've got a little light the other side of the laptop shining on me. Then having said that, one of the things that happens with online presentations is you very often get quite a strong cultural mix. Often the reasons that people are giving or doing an online thing is because people from different countries are dialing in, different backgrounds and so on. So you have to be super prepared for that. You have to acknowledge cultural differences. So if we were to exaggerate, and I don't want to be rude about anybody listening to this, but let's say if you had, an American team and a Japanese team, right? So let's look at cultural cliches. So Americans, generally speaking, are happy to talk. They're happy to ask questions. They're not worried about getting a wrong answer or a wrong question. Whereas a Japanese team are much more. They're much quieter quite often. They don't necessarily want to ask questions, particularly if you're senior. So you have to be sort of ready for things like that, and you might want to prepare. Okay, I need to get the Japanese team involved, so I'm going to deliberately ask them a question, for instance. And I don't want to be culturally insensitive to anybody listening, but you get the point. What else? People have less attention span online. A phrase I love is, on the internet, people have the attention span of a 3-year-old and the memory of an 80-year-old, right? And I think it's very true. And people, they don't say it out loud, but we all know it's true. People have got their kids running around, or their dogs barking, or they're trying to make themselves a drink on the side. So your points need to be very clear. You need to repeat things more. And the last thing I'd say is you need to try and find ways of getting engagement. And that could be simple things like, I'll speak for 3 minutes, then ask questions, or give me a thumbs up if everybody understands this. What do you think, Andrea? Asking people by name throughout. You need to try and engage people very frequently in an online presentation.